The iguana population in South Florida has gotten so out of control that it's preventing people from working and even enjoying themselves at home, leading some to take the drastic measure of calling in catchers and exterminators. The natural behaviors of these four-legged creatures trying to coexist with humans have led to issues with internet and phone service, power outages, and all sorts of damage done to landscapes, levees, seawalls, roofs, and patios, and even contaminating swimming pools. This year is the most iguanas I've seen, and I've been in business for 9 years. Thomas Portualo, the owner of Fort Lauderdale-based company called Iguana Control, told the Sun Sentinel. Portualo said many hundreds of thousands of the reptiles have taken over Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties. While many hundreds of thousands is a vague estimate, experts say it's impossible to tell exactly how many iguanas who have invaded the Sunshine State, but it's certainly a high number. There's no real way to come up with a valid estimate of the number of green iguanas in Florida. But the number would be gigantic, says Richard Engman, a biologist for the National Wildlife Research Center said. You could put any number of zeros behind a number, and I would believe it. And at such high numbers, the impact is being felt intensely by South Florida residents. In case you're wondering in what kind of ways an iguana can mess up your day, Grace DeVita of Hollywood has a few examples for you. Within the past few months, she got 2 unexpected days off from the regular grind when an iguana chewed through cables and caused the internet and phone services to go out at her place of employment. There was an iguana with a piece of wire hanging out of his mouth, DeVita said. After the damage was repaired, it happened again, just 2 days later. She also got an unpleasant surprise when one of these little rascals was found hiding in her toilet. In one of my bathrooms, my roommate kept hearing something in his toilet and saw something poking its head out, she said. That something was an iguana that she had to pull out after coaxing it to latch onto a plunger. This was a few years ago, according to DeVita. It was very aggressive, she said. Share this article. Share. To add to bathroom-related issues, now South Florida iguanas are relieving themselves in neighborhood pools, contaminating them with their feces. But, while that's definitely gross, one animal expert told the Sun Sentinel it shouldn't hurt the family pet, as it's a myth that iguana feces is poisonous to them. Most pet instances are trauma injuries, Douglas Mader, a marathon veterinarian who specializes in exotic animal medicine, said. I have seen a couple dozen dogs come in with injuries from getting bit by iguanas or slashed by their tails. The iguanas are actually a popular choice to have in the home, though, when they're cared for properly. They're actually very nice to have as pets, Brian Wood, owner of Iguana Catchers, told NBC News. The problem is when they get out and start mating and can lay 60 eggs per female, and that becomes a problem for South Florida. Much of the damage also stems from the mating, in that iguanas will dig tunnels to create sturdy spaces to keep their offspring safe, which in turn leads to issues for landscapes, but also levees and seawalls. All of these problems for the area date back to 1992, when Hurricane Andrew destroyed pet shops, causing iguanas to be released, and the population grew exponentially from there. His choice bait is frozen strawberries placed inside a raccoon trap, like the kind you can buy at Home Depot, with a mechanism triggered to drop the gate as the iguana eats the treat, he said. Frozen strawberries, he said, attract the reptiles with their color and taste, and last several days outside in the South Florida heat. Then it's up to you what you do with it, Wood said. If you decide to exterminate your catch, you have options if you don't want to do it yourself. Portualo says his company humanely and lawfully exterminates iguanas using $1,000 pre-charged pneumatic pistols by delivering one pellet to the head. We don't shoot to injure, we shoot with intent to kill, he said. My men are well trained. We follow all laws in every municipality we work. Statewide laws in Florida say Portualo's method of extermination is legal, and so is stabbing iguanas in the brain and decapitating them, just as long as they don't suffer. The most humane way to kill an iguana, According to it, it's illegal to drown, freeze and poison iguanas, not to mention the fact that the latter is dangerous to more than just the reptiles. The animals die a slow, excruciating death, which is inhumane, Portualo said, adding, "When you put out rat poison, you can't control what's going to consume it," Portualo says.